Hello everyone, welcome to this session of test driven development, that is a TDD approach. So first let's understand why TDD is useful in our day-to-day life in software development. So being a software engineer, you must be facing so many defects, so many issues, and you must be getting so many issues from the customer, right? And why is that happening? The reason is because we don't have enough test case coverage, which is covering all the scenarios of our software. So TD is useful there. Once you have enough test case coverage, once you have enough test cases, which is covering all the scenarios, all the possibilities of your software, negative and positive both, then you are sure that your product is very secure. And writing a test case, you should be careful that you must write unit test cases as many as possible rather than writing integration test cases, because integration test case does more time to execute, because it make some database connection, some network connection, start the service and everything. So rather than writing integration test case, try to write as many as possible unit test cases, which is testing the behavior of your product. So this is really useful approach, because in this approach you will first write a failing test case, and then you will implement your code which will make your test case pass. So first you would have some design in your mind, and then you will implement on that design. So this is really useful approach, and I am using it since long, and I found it really useful for my product. So let's begin with a simple test case. So this is a very simple test case. It allocate this slot into the calendar. Then it move this slot 4 hours earlier, as you can see in this line, and then it tries to compare that a slot you have moved earlier is proper. So a search statement is for that. But do you think this test case is make more sense? Does it really useful when you read it? No, right? It is not making sense when you read it, whatever I have said. So first of all, test case should have good name. So as you can see, I have already executed this test case, and test case is failing because I was expecting 2 4 and it was returning me 2. So this test case was failing properly. Now the first thing is test case should have good name, that it should be self explanatory. So now I have modified the name. As you can see, I have provided something like given a new slot when moved 4 hours earlier should become 4 hours long, right? So now this test case itself make more sense. So ideally in TD approach, you should provide test name something like given a context, when some action performed, it should give some outcome. So given, when, then, that kind of 3 steps should be followed in your test case. So I have modified the name. Now it make some more sense with a descriptive name. Now let's again go through the test case. Do you think we need this line console.write line? No, right? Because test case should not contain anything like console.write line or print statement. These statements are kind of noise in your test case. So try to remove these kind of statements. So I have removed that. Now let's again go through the test case. As you can see, I have written 3 assert statement into this particular test case. Now this is not a really good approach, because I am writing a unit test case, and unit test case doesn't take much time to execute. So ideally I should write a separate 2 test cases for another 2 assert statement. So ideally unit test should contain just a single assert statement, and because in this case, if first assert statement will fail, you will not be able to verify another assert 2 statement, right? So in unit test case, always write a single assert statement per a test case. In a integration test case, you have some flexibility. You can write a 2 or 3 assert statement as per the requirement, because execution of integration test case take more time compared to the unit test. So it is not always feasible to create the database connection, create the network connection, and write a test case and single assert statement in every test case, because that will increase the count of your integration test case, which is not good. But in unit test case, try to do that. So I have removed another 2 assert statements, so I can write 2 more test case out of it. And with that, I will implement the code with which this assert statement would pass. So my function would be simple and very smaller, and that will be easy to understand. And also try to remove the code which is not required, and always give the parameter name which is which make more sense, like over here, period p equal to new period for, right? Now p doesn't make sense. It's like we used to give this kind of name in college, but uh, don't provide this kind of name in our product. So as you can see, I have modified the name like expected slot duration. So as you can see, the assert statement, assert are equal expected slot duration dot get scale is call begin dot get scale, both should be same, right? Now this test case is much more easy to read. Great. Now always try to practice provide given, when, and then. Given means what you are providing, right? So I am providing a calendar slot with set time equal to current time. When I add this slot for our earlier, then the expected get scale should be calendar slot get scale. So this test case make more sense while reading it. And not that I do not like that comment on the your implementation code. Your test case should be your documentation. Your test case should make clear what your particular function or method is doing. So good test should have very descriptive name and well named variables, and it should fail with good diagnostic information, like it should not fail with a null reference exception or something like some API exception. It should passes noiselessly. So do not add noise, do not add extra statement if it is not required, and it should have only one assert statement, and it should use the structure given, when, then as appropriate. So that's all about today. So this was very basic example I have explained, and then I will try to add something more into it. So keep watching the videos, and please subscribe to the channel. And one last thing, to easily implement this kind of thing, use this source tree, which is more useful if you are using Git. So download source tree, it is open source and it is free. So in this you can commit as you move forward. So like you have first written the red test case, which is failing test case. So commit it with like red, then column and description, then commit it. Then in next commit, modify the code and implement the code with which your test case would pass. So make the commit with green, that that is the implementation part, and then refactor the code. So in green commit, make sure that you are implementing that much code with which your test case would pass. Now refactor the code, extract out the method, or modify the variable name, modify the class name. So do that kind of thing in refactor step. So your cycle should be like a red, green, refactor, red, green, refactor. That should be followed. So that is the best approach to follow in the TDD. And to make sure that you have enough code coverage, uh, use sonar cube or something like a tool like squeeze cooker is also available for C++ and Java. So use this kind of tool, whichever suitable for your company or your product or your, if language specific tool you can find. Then it will make sure that you have a proper code coverage, like 90% or above should be expected. So I am done over here. Let me know if you have any comments in the comment dialog.